So now that we got our thumbnail, I had to turn off the RGB because it was just blinding me when I did this video. But now that I got my thumbnail here, I want to talk about the shape first, and we're going to talk about like the software because I hate it, like good things, bad things, and then we're going to talk about my overall appearances and blah, 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 with the mouse experiences, not appearances, whatever. So first of all, talking about the shape, and I busted out the calipers for this one because I wanted to show that it's got a weird thing going on here. So we have the normal mouse. If you look at the base of it and we hold it up to the light, you can see that it flares out at the base. Ooh, look at that, special. And the reason why I think they're doing this is to provide some more palm support while still giving you a pretty decent grip width. So when I whip out my calipers here, this is giving me a reading about 5.7 centimeters across at the minimum point here. This is 5.697. So give or take a little bit, but that kind of reminded me of something that was going on with the Deathadder. Well, the Deathadder has about a minimum grip width here, and I'm getting about 5.9. So it's a little bit, it's about 0.3 centimeters thinner than the Deathadder. And it's still, and the Deathadder really reminded me, because I recently did this mouse, of this big bump in the back. So the bump on the Steelseries mouse is a little bit further back, and it doesn't get in the way as much. I had a lot of issues adjusting to the Deathadder V3 at first, but when I picked up this mouse, I was expecting to be a lot less comfortable, and I was a lot more comfortable. The hump was a fine height, nothing too aggressive on this mouse. The only oddity is this part in the back, and if you remove that, it's a very basic shape, low hump with a back that doesn't go down too aggressively. You look at a lot of these other mice, like here, this Viper, it's almost doing around the same thing. The humps on the Vipers come down much sooner. This kind of flares back and is just a nice long shape. And so for that reason, it fits pretty well in my hands. So I think this is a big contender for that big mouse, lightweight mouse kind of guys. I think that when comparing that to something like the Deathadder, I think this mouse is actually going to be better for most people. And the good thing about this is that this shape is available for as low as like $40 if you're going to get the wired version, and this wireless version is only around $90 right now at Best Buy. I think I picked it up for like $100 or like $99. But as far as like a value proposition, this mouse is better. And when you look at the RGB on this, there was no RGB going on. Let me make sure. Pretty sure. There's no RGB like this. You're not going to find anything like this on the other mice. And I know people are going to be like, oh, I don't want it. Well, you can turn it off in the software. I hate the software. I just hate all softwares. But, you know, at least this one had all the basic features pretty readily available. And then I never touched it after that. I uninstalled and it saved on the mouse. But it does this, and then when you're using it, you're like, oh, maybe I don't want it to do that. When you start using it, when you start moving it around, the RGB turns off. And as soon as I stop moving around, the RGB turns back on. And there's different modes, there's different cycles. I'll let you play with that. You can look for other videos on that. I'm not interested in it. I've just kept it on, and it's been sitting on my desk for a while now. So let's talk about sitting on the desk. What else do you get sitting on the desk? You always get a little dongle. Let's pull this out. So we got a pretty nice USB Type-C cable to go with it. And then you have this weird, big old USB Type-C dongle. Look at this guy, hold on. There he is. Look at how big that guy is. It's just a big boy. And it's a USB Type-C, and it's a USB Type-C to C kind of nest here. I don't really know what I'm going to call these, but I'm going to start calling these nests because that's what they are. The things where things come to live, and that's a nest to me. And look at how big this guy is after all of that. But it's USB Type-C to C, and it feels pretty nice. It's nice, and I've never had this move around when I didn't want it on my desk. It just kind of looks dumb. And that means something to some people, and kind of means something to me. But honestly, the wireless range on this is probably a little bit better. It's actually, it's bigger than the Final Mouse like little puck, but I think that overall it's kind of weird looking. I wouldn't say it's a reason not to get the mouse, but USB Type-C to C is interesting. It means that you can't go unless you have a USB Type-C port open. You can't just go plug it into a port on your computer though, which is kind of like an L, because some people, like, imagine you wanted to take this out and you're gonna go sit your laptop down and you're gonna play on that on your TV or something. You can't just plug this into your laptop unless you have an open Type-C port, which if you have a Mac, I guess is great because that's all you got. But then it's got these really wide edges on it and you can't exactly plug anything else in there. Oh, that's a weird Windows 11 sound. Anyways, we also have a Bluetooth mode, so you don't even need to do that if you're going on your laptop. So it starts to flash blue and you got that Bluetooth mode. Bluetooth is super cool to see in these mouse. I love it in the Orochi, because I use this mouse on my laptop primarily just because how cheap it is and how it runs on batteries. And Bluetooth on these mice means you don't, when you do connect it to your laptop, you don't really need to worry about that whole thing. It also gives you basically dual PC functionality where it's like, okay, well, I'm working on this computer, I'm gonna pop it over to my other computer on my laptop for school or whatever. I just hit the switch and I'm already good to go. And that's one thing I really value in these wireless mice is when they do that. Now, I only see that in a certain number of mice. I don't see that in all the mice. Like, you're not gonna see that with anything without drivers. And you don't see that with something like the Deathadder or the Viper or a lot of other mice, but it's a nice to have. My overall experience with the mouse. So I picked it up, I thought I was gonna have a lot of problems, and I didn't. I had more problems with the Deathadder just because of these large shapes, but honestly the shape is pretty safe. The buttons feel fine, they're a little bit heavier. Let's get that sound test. The side buttons are in a good spot, and the DPI button feels fine. The scroll wheel is a little bit heavier, but it's fine overall. And outside of all these things, if you want to pick up this mouse, it's worth a try. I would say that if you like the Steelseries shapes in the past, you're going to like this mouse anyways. And I had no issue aiming with it. I got some aim clips here. Hopefully I threw them at the beginning of the video, or I throw them in right here. But I really just don't feel like editing videos nowadays. I just try to upload them as raw as possible. Also, if you like my blonde hair, leave a like for that. If you want to pick up this mouse, it's about $90 right now. It'll probably be on a good Black Friday sale, maybe down to like $80. And for a good wireless mouse like this, that's pretty light. I'm not even gonna like mess with the grams anymore, but it's lighter than something like, it's about the same as like a Deathadder, so a little bit maybe heavier, a little bit lighter, I don't know. But the shape, like, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. IMO. I look at a lot of mouse weights, and unless you're talking like 20, 30 grams, like, who really cares about flexing that weight? They're all around the same, that 60, 70, 50, 40 gram mark. I don't know, between 40 and 70 grams. It's pretty much the same. Anyways, if you like that blonde hair look, give me a big old like for that. Stick around, and I'll be getting, I got the Viper Mini on my desk. I'll be getting a Shroud 303 and a Hot ES coming next week, so hopefully I get reviews out on those. I've been really liking this Viper so far. I got a lot to say about that, but overall I just wanted to kick out this review of the mouse to let people know, yeah, it's pretty good. I was surprised it was on the Rocket Jump Ninja mouse list, so if you're one follower of that guy, you can definitely find that mouse there, and you can actually pick this mouse up. So that's about it. If you got questions on that, hit me up in the comments. All right, that's about it. Peace.